Hello everyone, welcome to Carlucci's Kitchen. Today I'm going to use chicken cutlets to compare plain breadcrumbs or pork rinds. And I've always wanted to do this because I noticed that sometimes on the breadcrumbs, I like to bake my chicken cutlets, and sometimes the breadcrumbs for some reason gets like a gelatin. Just doesn't cook, seems to cook right. So I want to see if maybe I have to cook it a little bit longer or put it, a little bit higher heat. But I think using the pork rinds, which is I've been trying to do for a while, and see how it works out. So the first thing you want to do is we want to make sure that we salt our chicken. I always salt it for about 10 minutes. I make sure that it's nice and clean before I start using it. And then you can take the chicken, pat it down with some paper towels. I lay it out and then I slice them. And when I slice the chicken cutlets, and I like to slice them myself, you can buy them already sliced, that's your call. But I like to slice them myself because sometimes if you notice the chicken cutlet is thick on one side and then it thins out, so you can't always get a nice clean piece, or slices I should say. So what I do is I take that first piece and I slice it off, and sometimes I get maybe a half of the breast, but as long as I'm flattening it out, and then I'll slice the rest. Okay, and then once I do that, then you have to prepare the breadcrumbs. And then the pan that I use, I coat it with tallow. I like using tallow, especially when I'm going to be roasting, chicken or basting things, because it browns it nice as if I was actually frying it, which I don't like to do that much. I like putting it in the oven on the convection, and it actually browns it pretty good. And then you could also, at the end, I cook it for about 20-25 minutes. And then at the end, what I do is I give it a light broil. I put my oven on light broil, and I let it broil for about maybe 3 minutes at the end, and it gets nice and brown. So once that's done, then I take them out of the oven, we lay them out, we put a little lemon on it, and it's delicious. Now with the breadcrumbs, what I do is I actually prepared both the same way. I took the plain breadcrumbs, and I'll add dry basil, dry oregano, some dry parsley, and then my secret ingredient is I take the Lucatelli Romano cheese and I add about 3 tablespoons to it, or depending on how much of the breadcrumbs you're making. And then I mix it all up real good. And it actually takes the place of salt and it gives it a nice flavor. And then on the panko, I'm going to do the same thing on actually they call this panko crumbs, which is the pork rinds. And I do the same thing. And then you could either do an egg wash and you could dip them in it, but I like to put them in a large Ziploc bag and I just shake them up inside of it just to give it a little bit of a coating, and then I use that and I bake it into the oven. So, and it always comes out really good. And then we taste it, we check it out, and it's delicious. After tasting both of them, the Italian and the pork rind breadcrumbs, you really can't even tell the difference because they're both seasoned the same way. So if you don't want breadcrumbs, you want to try the pork rinds. This is very good. Can't complain. So I hope you enjoy this, and as always, bon appetit.